Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're cracking into Ingram Micro Holding Corporation's latest filing. It's about some changes to their debt agreement. Don't worry, it's not as boring as it sounds. We'll see if this move makes them a financial ninja or if they're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Ingram Micro got a bit of a loan makeover. They basically renegotiated the interest rate on some of their debt. We'll break down why this matters and what it could mean for the company's future. Before we jump in, if you like getting real insights from company reports without the corporate jargon, subscribe to Corporate Decoder. Also, join our Discord community. I put an invite link in this video's description so you can join and discuss. This is an 8K filing, which is basically a quick update a company sends to the SEC, the government agency that oversees public companies when something important happens fairly quickly. In this case, it's all about an agreement they made concerning the cost of their debt. The event we're talking about, this agreement change, happened on June 17, 2025. Think of it as the date they signed the deal to change the terms of their loan. This is Ingram Micro Holding Corporation. What do? Well, they're in the business of distributing technology products. They get tech from the manufacturers and get it to tons of different businesses, whether it's a small shop or a big retailer. Here's where it gets interesting. Item 8.01 titled Other Events. This is where companies report things that are significant but don't necessarily fit into other specific categories. In this case, it's about changes to their debt. The headline, Amendment to Term Loan Credit Agreement. That phrase may seem complicated, but it's not. It's essentially saying they've made a change to their loan agreement. An amendment is just a fancy word for a change. So on June 17, 2025, Ingram Micro Inc., which is part of the bigger Ingram Micro Holding Corporation, made an agreement to change their term loan credit agreement. This term loan credit agreement, originally signed in 2021, is an agreement with banks and lenders regarding a big loan they have. They changed it a bit in 2023, a couple of times again in 2024, and this time they are changing it again. What did they actually change? They lowered the interest rate by 50 basis points. Okay, what does that mean? Basis points are a way of measuring interest rates. 100 basis points equals 1%. So 50 basis points is 0.25%. This reduction in the interest rate will now be tied to something called the term SOFR plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.5%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.5%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%, or tied to the base rate plus an additional 2.25%. The filing clearly states there were no other material changes to the term loan credit agreement. This means the interest rate change was the big news and everything else stayed the same. So what does all this mean? Well, Ingram Micro just made their loan a little cheaper. By lowering the interest rate, they'll save money on interest payments. That money can then be used for other things like investing in their business, paying off other debt, or even increasing profits. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a credit card. Let's say it has a high interest rate attached to it. If you call the credit card company and get them to lower it, you'll save money every month. That's essentially what Ingram Micro has done. Is this a huge deal? Not necessarily. Much but 5% might not sound like much. But for a large company with a big loan like Ingram Micro, it can add up to significant savings over time. Now, looking at the situation more broadly, this small change in the loan agreement signals certain things about Ingram Micro. First, it suggests that Ingram Micro is in a stable enough financial position that they were able to negotiate a better interest rate. Banks and lenders usually don't just hand out discounts, they need to be convinced that the borrower is a good risk. Second, it shows that Ingram Micro is actively managing its debt. They're not just sitting back and letting the loan payments take care of themselves. They're looking for ways to save money and improve their financial situation. On the other hand, it also indicates that Ingram Micro has a significant amount of debt. Otherwise, renegotiating the interest rate wouldn't be worth the effort. So, while the interest rate reduction is a positive sign, it's important to remember that they still have a loan to pay off drop. What are some of the risks and opportunities here? One risk is that interest rates could rise again in the future. If that happens, Ingram Micro's savings from this renegotiation could be wiped out. One opportunity is that Ingram Micro could use the savings from this interest rate reduction to invest in growth initiatives. They could expand into new markets, develop new products, or acquire other companies into so. Overall, this move seems quite logical and potentially beneficial. Alright, that's our breakdown of Ingram Micro's latest filing. What's your take on this seemingly minor change and what it signals for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. I think it's fascinating to discuss and hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.